everyone, and welcome to my little Unravel Festival haul video. So I was lucky enough to go to Unravel Festival this weekend. It is in Farnham in Surrey, so not too far away from where I live, which is great for me. And I went with a friend in person to a festival in 2021 with all the COVID restrictions happening, and it was actually really great to get out and be able to do something that feels so normal and social for once in the last year and a half. So in the UK here, everything's sort of starting to ease, so we're now able to actually socialise with other people indoors, obviously with masks on and social distancing as much as possible. So it was great for that first weekend to be a yarn festival. So yeah, there was a one-way system in place to try and keep everything COVID secure. So my friend and I decided what we would do was do a whole lap of the Farnham Maltings, which is where the festival takes place, and then reassess what we were doing and then decide what to actually purchase on the second go around. So we did one full lap, and actually we expected there to be fewer vendors than there were, which was and it was absolutely fantastic that there were so many there. And we found that because there were fewer people in the building, it meant that we could actually spend quite a lot of time at each stand. So we thought we wouldn't take as long, thinking, oh, there won't be as many vendors, so we'll probably do it much quicker. But what was fantastic was there was more space, so we could speak to the vendors a bit more easily, talk about what they had on offer, rather than, I guess, in normal years there's a lot of people around each stall, so you kind of have to push past to get to things. Often the main vendor on the stall is preoccupied speaking with someone, so you can't actually have an opportunity to speak to them. Obviously I imagine that means that it didn't generate as much revenue for the vendors themselves this time, but in terms of a customer experience, it was absolutely fantastic to be able to go. So yeah, I'll talk a bit about what I bought and the vendors that my friend and I saw. So the first one in the first room that we both really wanted to see was Botanical Yarns. Her colours are just amazing. I've followed Botanical Yarns on Instagram and I've looked at her website a few times, but have never actually bought anything. So it's really great to see everything in person, and she had some lovely swatches laid out, so you could see her specialty, I think, is fades. So she does mini skein fades and kind of full skein fades, and she does swatches of those fades, so you can really see how they blend together in a knitted piece. So we both really wanted a fade or a mini skein set, and I ummed and ahed a lot about which one I was going to get, to be honest, but I settled on one that I had been eyeing up for a while on the website, and that is the Hydrangea Aspera fade. So apologies for the crinkling, I am not going to get this out of the packet because I wanted to show you it in all its glory. So this is the fade, and it kind of goes from a sort of burgundy to pink with specks of gold. I think this is very much my colour combo at the moment. I can tell that from the colours that I've been dyeing, actually. But yeah, I really love this selection of colours. I am not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. She had a Volcano Trail cowl by Maxim Sear, who's Max the Knitter, on the stand out of one of the DK fades, and I thought it looked really lovely, but it won't use all of that yarn. So I actually was thinking yesterday, I'm doing the spring sorrel at some point this summer, and that would be the perfect amount of yarn for that as well. So it could be that I knit two of those in different colours. I have a turquoise one and then have like a muted burgundy to pink faded one as well. But I'll have a think about that and see what I end up doing. But yeah, I wanted a fade I had a look at all of the mini skein fades. She does a fade where you get 10 minis rather than 5, and then I decided that these were the colours that I really wanted. She didn't have a mini skein fade available in those colours, so I went for DK because, to be honest, I will use DK, probably more likely than fingering weight yarn. So that's that, and I'm really happy that I got that set. It's really lovely. So yeah, that was stock number 1. So yes, maybe going to knit the Spring Sorrel by Wool and Pine in that as well. Then we moved on to some other stands and the next room. I had a good look at some of the Rawork skeins of yarn. They now have sport and I think worsted weight or Aran available in some beautiful colours and some beautiful naturals, but I opted not to get anything at that point. I was considering a sweater's quantity, but I think it would have been quite expensive to get the yarn for a sweater there, and I'm hoping to maybe try something like Pluto Lopi instead, when I can actually buy it again, because it seems to be out of stock in most places. So yeah, but it looks like lovely yarn and a wonderful array of colours. I remember seeing them at a yarn festival a few years ago where they just had kind of neutrals and a few natural dyed colours, but they've now got a whole array, like a whole rainbow of different colours available in the yarn. Then I had a good look at some River Knits yarns, and River Knits is one of those companies that I keep going back to, keep looking at their website and going, shall I buy something? Their yarn's so beautiful. And a lot of my craft group have knit with River Knits as well. So I ended up treating myself a little bit because this wasn't a planned purchase, as I had planned to buy a lot of the rest of these to a couple of things. So the first one is their Chimera yarn. There you go. So this is kind of barber pole yarn, a bit like Spin Cycle. It's a 50-gram skein and it is called Water, that one. And then the other thing that I bought was this Neen 4-ply yarn. Gorgeous green. This is Moosbedector Walled Bowden. I'm not sure what that means specifically, but that's just a lovely green. This is their Neen 4-ply. And this is 100% Blueface Leicester, and the other one is also 100% Blueface Leicester. So one of the things that I really like about the River Knits yarn is that it's all British breed wool. And they do blends as well between different sheep, as far as I know. So I just love that it's local. I love that it's non-superwash. It does say you can machine wash it. I might have to double check that. But yeah, I love this yarn together. And what I think I'm going to do is actually do some colour work. One of the best things about going to a yarn festival in person is you can see the yarns in person, but you can also see the samples in person. So they had quite a few with the Chimera yarn with another solid colour, so I could really tell what options there were in terms of how to knit with that yarn. So that was fantastic to see. So I'm thinking something like the Strawberry Mountain Cowl by Kay Hopkins, and that's one idea that I've got, and I'll pop a link to that below. But we'll see. I'll have to base it on how many yards of the Chimera I have. I think it's 195 meters that I've got here, and then 400 meters of the green. So yeah, let's see. But I was definitely gravitating towards green yesterday. I don't know why, but yeah, I really like this combo, and it's not something I would normally go for, that colour green. So yeah, it's nice to have something different, I think. We also stopped by the Hide and Hammer stand to find out a bit more about the bags. I had decided that I was only going to be buying a bag if I had not bought much wool otherwise, and as I have got a fairly reasonable haul of yarn, I opted not to. But what I'll end up doing is, now that I know a bit more about them, put one on my Christmas list. And I can't remember the lady's name, but I got her to explain the sizing, so roughly kind of what size project you can fit into each bag. So I have a good idea of that now, and I will hopefully be getting one for my birthday or Christmas at the end of the year. Then I went to the Ida's House stand. That is a yarn shop in Surrey here. Not anywhere near me, it's actually in Caterham, but I have bought things from them at Unravel before and also online. So Ida's House do some Beelum Yarns gradient skeins, and I have woven with a few before. The first time I did was after buying a cake from Unravel last year, so in February last year, 2020. So I had to get another one because it's just so beautiful when it's woven into a scarf. So this is the cake that I got this time to weave with. So it's yellow in the middle, and then it goes out to orange, then purple, then this kind of dark stormy bluey teal colour on the outside. Actually on the other side you can see a bit more of the middle there. So yeah, I'll be making another scarf with this, I think. And then gifting that to someone probably at some point. But yeah, I absolutely love weaving with this yarn, so I'm looking forward to doing that. This is Sneck, and it is 100% merino, 365 meters for 100 grams. I think it's fingering weight effectively, but it's quite a plump fingering, I would say. So yeah, I love the fact that they're lovely gradient cakes, and great for weaving. The other thing that I spotted at the Ida's House stand was some BC Garn, and I have been wanting to try different types of BC Garn yarn for a long time, but what they had was the BioBalance yarn. Here's just here. And BioBalance is 55% organic wool and 45% organic cotton, and it is really soft. There was a sample knit up there as a sweater, and it was a really lovely soft sweater. I know cotton is a weird one for knitting with. It's quite stiff, I would say, but then kind of very drapey. And I think the fact that this is organic wool and cotton as a blend is really lovely. So what I have ended up purchasing is 3 skeins of this kind of creamy colour, which is 01, and 3 skeins of this grey, which is 28. And what I'm going to do is knit the Sprinkle Tea by Lisa Hannis, which is one of my summer projects that I've planned. And I will hold these two together to create a mild effect, and I'm hoping to get roughly the same effect as the tea that Lisa's used as the sample. So I hope this will work really well for that, and this is fairly affordable yarn, I would say, relative to a lot of the other things that were at Unravel. So I'm really happy that I managed to get my hands on these, and also actually be able to see and feel something knit up in it, because that's always something that you can't really do online. You can order some yarn, you get it to your house, you can feel it at that point. You can't see and feel it in person knit up, which is why it's great to go to these sorts of things. So yeah, I have 6 skeins of BioBalance. I'd really like to try some of the other yarns that BC Garn do as well, but I know they seem to be fairly limited in their availability in the UK. So I've got some on my list to try out this year. I'll see if I can actually acquire them somehow as well, and maybe do a little BC Garn review at some stage. That's those. And the lady kindly gave me a BC Garn project bag to store them in, because I was buying 6 skeins of that. They are 50 grams each, by the way, so I needed 6 to create the full t-shirt. Next up was the main haul, and in there we had lots of vendors, including shops like A Yarn Story and Tribe Yarns, but right at the back of the haul at the top was Garn Organic, and I absolutely love the idea of organic British pure wool yarns. This one is not actually fully British, but this is their new one, I believe. So this is Beacon's yarn, the label, there you go. And Beacon's is organic Polworth, Romney and Hebridean wool blended together. It's 75% Polworth, 18% Romney and 7% Hebridean. Grown in the Falkland Islands, South Wales, the Scottish Highlands and south west of England. And then it's scoured and spun in Yorkshire and hand finished in West Wales. This is a DK weight yarn, but I loved the feel of it. It's really, really soft, you know, quite easy to wear next to the skin. And it's 135 meters or 148 yarns for 50 grams. It's certified organic climate positive wool, and they use recycled paper as well and vegetable based ink for their labels. So big fan of what they're doing. This is the colour Basalt, and I just really liked the really light kind of mild look. There's a bit of a theme going on there. You know, light colours mild together today apparently. So it's kind of a bit of white and a bit of grey mild together because of the different breeds, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with these. I wanted to get some to try out. I might do something like a cabled hat, because I get the feeling this will be really warm for the winter, and because it is worsted spun it should have quite good cable definition. It's DK, so yeah, perfect for something like a hat, and should be enough meterage for a decent cabled hat. So yeah, happy with those. To be honest, thinking back, I should probably have got something like this and then a contrast colour to be able to do something maybe a bit different rather than just a fully kind of very light white grey hat, but we'll see. I was obviously in that kind of mindset over the weekend. There we go. And then my final kind of yarny purchase of the day was some of this multicoloured linen thread. So I got 2 packs, and apologies for the crinkling. I will get one out just to show you actually. So this is Natural Flax Wet Spun 3-ply, and it is actually super fine. If I can show you there. Yeah, so it's definitely smaller than the sport weight that I'm using. It's probably thinner than standard fingering weight. I had the idea of doing something like knitting a stripy tank top with these, because I've got 4 different colours of that. I'm going to probably try a swatch and see how it looks knit together double. There's 149 meters or 162 yards in each of these balls, or little, yeah, squashed cakes I think they are. So I'll try it out and see what I get. I could always hold it together with a wool yarn or something else, and see how that works too. But I really love these colours, and I'm definitely trying out linen at the moment to see how it works with my knitting too, given that I'm knitting a linen top at the moment. So yeah, I'll see how that goes. I just was drawn to the colours and the idea of knitting with pure linen again. So that's all the yarn that I purchased. One last little purchase that I made was a pin by Canon bag, I think, and just a cats in books pin. I have another one which is a cat in a cat jumper, and I'll just add this to my pin collection. I like to buy one pin at Unravel every year to remind me of the year. So yeah, that's the last one. So overall it was a really great festival. It spent a lot longer there than I expected to, and there were more vendors than I expected. It was nice and calm, we could have conversations with people, and I had a good chat with a lot of people, which felt so strange compared to what we've been experiencing in the last year. And yeah, I'm super happy with my purchases and definitely inspired to cast some of that yarn on already. I highly recommend Unravel as a festival overall. Whilst it is a fairly well-known festival, it's quite small and it's in separate rooms, so you don't have one massive conference hall or you know, conference centre type situation where you go in and there's just crowds of people and tables everywhere with products on. You kind of go through the little maze of rooms and have a different experience in each area. They had some of the rooms that they would normally have open closed off this year because of, I guess, fewer vendors and the need for the one-way system and for social distancing. But overall it was fantastic to be able to go again, and I'm definitely looking forward to going next year when things are a bit more back to normal. But at the same time it was so nice that it was so calm and open this year. So yeah, there's also a virtual Unravel Festival going on at the same time, so I have popped onto a couple of the virtual talks, which has been really nice to do over the last couple of days. But yeah, that is my Unravel haul for 2021, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!